Alright, what's going on everyone, and welcome back. So in today's video, I'll be sand leveling and overseeding my front lawn. So I'm going to be using this barenbrug perennial ryegrass for my overseeding, along with using the moss boss that I built here a few weeks ago to roll out all my peat moss over the grass seed. Along with that, I'm going to be showing you some of the simple steps that I follow anytime I do an overseed project. So with that being said, let's get after it. Now I'm going to use my Sunjoe dethatcher with the Scarfire head attached and set on its lowest setting. I'll go through and dethatch or scarify my whole front lawn. Once the whole front lawn is dethatched, I'll take my rotary mower, also set to the lowest setting, and use it as a vacuum to kind of pick up all the dead grass debris that's left over after the scarifying. Now the next step is to mow your lawn. So you're going to want to mow it a lot shorter than what you normally mow it. It'll help the new grass seed have a better chance at germination and not get smothered out with the existing grass and it growing. So some will say to cut it at about half the normal cutting height that you do. So it kind of breaks the 1/3 rule that most of us like to follow when we're cutting our grass normally. But for this one particular scenario, it's okay to do. So I'll be mowing mine at a 1/2 inch this time. So I'm setting up my reel mower for a 1/2 inch height of cut. Alright, so with the front yard scarified and cut at a 1/2 inch, it's time to start placing piles of sand on the yard. So I've got roughly between what's in the back of my truck and that pile there, I've got about 4,000 pounds. So jump in the side-by-side and load up the back of it and drop small piles. Every year at about this time, I regret doing this, but the payoff is totally worth it at the end. But if you want a smooth yard, you gotta put in the work. Alright, so with about 3/4 of the sand dropped on the yard now, I'm going to take this landscape rake and knock all these piles down, kind of help spread it out and then give it a little bit more time to dry. That way when I put my drag on the side-by-side, it'll spread out a lot easier. Alright, so with the bulk of the sand all drug in with the side-by-side and my homemade drag, I'm going to go through and hit all the kind of in-between spots or spots I couldn't reach with this push broom, work all that sand down into the grass canopy. So I'm in the middle of a windstorm, and like I showed you earlier, or maybe I didn't, I got a ton of pine needles and pine seeds that have all dropped out of these trees, so it's kind of a bummer, but we're going to keep going. Alright, so it's the next morning, all of my sand leveling is complete. So I did finish it up yesterday afternoon, but the wind picked up really bad, so it was making it hard to film, and it was blowing a ton of debris in my lawn, and I wasn't able to apply my liquid fertilizers or even my grass seed, so I held off until this morning. So you'll notice in my lawn that I left some of these spots really heavy with sand and didn't work it down into the grass canopy. Reason being is my past experience with doing this, anytime you work that sand all the way down into the grass canopy in your low areas, you're not really leveling out those low spots. So this time around I left it heavy there to really level off those really low divots. And I'm doing a heavy overseed application this year. So any of those bare spots where the existing grass won't be able to grow through that thick sand layer, I'll be doing 6 to 8 pounds of seed per 1,000 square feet. So it's a pretty heavy overseed application. But if you're just sand leveling, I would definitely take the time to work all that sand down into the grass canopy. That way your existing grass has a chance to grow through and fill in those bare spots. All right, so now I'll be applying my fertilizer. It's a Scott starter fertilizer, pretty generic. I think it's available at most of your Home Depots or Lowe's. George over at Princess Cut Lawn Care's got a good recommendation on a phosphorus only product for overseeding existing lawns. I'll link his video up here in the top left, so go check that out. So with a little bit of nitrogen in this product, I'm not too concerned because my front lawn is currently under a plant growth regular suppression, so the existing grass isn't getting a lot of top growth, so this little bit of nitrogen is not going to impede or affect my new grass seed germination. So I'll be applying this at 4 pounds per 1,000 square feet. My front lawn's roughly 2,000 square feet, so I'll be putting 8 pounds of this fertilizer in my spreader and applying it across the front yard. Alright, so now that I've applied my granular fertilizer, it's time to apply some of my liquid products. First being Tenacity, which is one of the only herbicides you can apply at the time of seeding to help eliminate any of the weed seeds from germinating while your new grass seed's germinating. So I'll be applying this at a half a teaspoon per 1,000 square feet per gallon. The other two products are Humic 12 and RGS, and these are just to help promote more root growth. So I'll be applying these two at 3 ounces per 1,000. All my product measured out in my cup. I like to fill up my measuring cup with water just to kind of help mix it together before I dump it in my sprayer. Rinse that out so you don't waste any of the gains, we'll call it. Then I'll be topping it off. I'm going to put 2 gallons in here. I've got 2,000 square feet, so my pace, I usually spray about a gallon per 1,000 square feet. Alright, so now it's time to apply my seed. So this year I'll be using barenbrug's Turf Star RPR. It's a perennial ryegrass and it's regenerative, so it's got self-repair and spreading capabilities, which makes it really nice. I'll be applying this pretty heavy this year. I'm going to be doing 8 pounds per 1,000 just due to the sand leveling and all my bare spots that I'll have where my existing grass won't grow through, so I want a nice good coverage. Something I'm going to do differently this year is use a drop seed spreader instead of the Scott Mini Edge Guard spreader. I've used this in years past and it's worked fine. The problem with it is it throws grass seed everywhere. So you're going to get it in your rock beds, your flower beds, which is a waste of the product. And then it's also a pain in the butt because once this seed starts to germinate and grow, you're going to have to go through and pick all that grass out of your rock beds or your flower beds. And that's even using the edge guard. So I think by using this drop spreader, it'll help me be more precise with getting the grass seed in my lawn where it needs to be. Since this drop spreader doesn't go all the way to the outer perimeter of it, I'm going around my edging of my lawn and just hand dusting some seed around that concrete edging. That way I've got even distribution of the seed. A couple nice things about this grass seed is it's got this yellow coating on it. It's their yellow jacket coating, and it's to help retain moisture. But what I like about it is being that it's yellow, it's really easy to see where you've applied your seed. So I'm actually colorblind, so your normal brown or tan, whatever color the seed normally is, when it hits that grass, it's really hard for me to see it. So with this yellow coating on it, it makes it very easy for me to see where I've applied the seed. All right, so we got our grass seed down. Now to ensure that we've got good seed to soil contact, we need to roll that seed down into the soil. That's key to your grass seed germination, is your seed to soil contact. So what a lot of people do is either rent or buy one of those lawn rollers that you fill up with water. You push it around and it pushes the seed down into the soil. My buddy Kevin over at the Longest Yard actually just used a plastic water drum that he got for free and filled it up with water and used that to roll a seed in. I'll link his video up in the top left. What I'm going to do, since I've got a reel mower, is I'm going to use the rear cylinder to act as that lawn roller. So I'll just won't have my reel engaged and I'll just drive this around, pressing that seed into the soil. Alright, so now that we've got all the seed rolled into the soil, it's time to spread a layer of peat moss across the entire lawn. So this will help retain moisture, hold that seed in place, and hopefully prevent any critters like birds and whatnot from picking that seed out, and just ultimately better your chances for more germination. So I'd like to introduce to you my secret weapon. the last step in this whole process is probably the most important, and it's watering. So depending on what type of seed you went with, it could be anywhere from 4 to 21 days before that grass seed germinates. So you need to make sure to keep it wet through the whole germination process. I've been waiting 2 weeks to use that peat moss roller, and I'm blown away with how well it worked. So I made that for about half the price as what you can buy one online for. And I am making a set of full build plans for anyone that wants to make the same roller that I have. The plans are taking me a little bit longer than normal just due to my overseed project, filming and editing this video, so be patient. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you already haven't. That way when I make community posts letting you know when these plans are available, you can be notified. I will also link all the products that I used in this video in my description below. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.